Broadcasting from a location that government insists that does not exist. This is MnRTV Live Show, and tonight we have special guest Leland, and he will be talking about many different things. But his main subject is going to be the Black Knight Satellite Disclosure. Guest Leland Judyn, and it will be an amazing show. But before I get to that, as usual, this is our final show of the year. Let me introduce to you the one and the only, the coffee monster himself, Mario. Welcome to our MNR TV show. My co-host right here, the one and the only, the master of mayhem, the info man, madman.
Yes. I'm glad to be back. Well, what would it be like without not doing a show? Well, we're gonna find out next week because we won't be doing a show, right?
Yeah,
and we'll start after that.
But anyhow, we're going to be taking a rest because we've got amazing guests, an amazing guest tonight, and we can't wait to get him on the show. He'll be coming on at 8:15 p.m. to talk about the black satellites and a lot of different subjects. It's going to be an amazing show. But that's it. This show's been brought to you by the Montreal Anti-Illuminati Task Force. So, folks, get ready. This show's going to rock. That's for sure.
Yes. Now, I'm very excited to be back. Right? It's great, but you know what? We're gonna start soon. We gotta start soon. We have no choice because people want to know what exactly we're up to and what we've been up to. Right?
That's right. Exactly. For sure. There's gonna be a lot of information tonight, and we're very excited to do the show tonight.
All right. Now I think we gotta start cracking the ice, right, and get the show cracking because that's what people are here for. Now. This is me. This is who I am. I'm going to be flipping on over to show you what you need to know because that's very important to hear what we got to be saying and what we got to say, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so now let us commence. I say let us commence, right there?
That's right.
Okay, so now here she is. Here's our beautiful blog.
Right there, our blog right there, MnR Productions, and it's been going on. It's been up there for a long time. We've worked hard on it, and there's like 6-7 years of material on it when we started. And right there is the website link right there, the YouTube link. Sorry, and all it is refresh.
The link is MnR Production Mariolaur.blogspot.ca.
Yes.
And here's the show. If you don't see this, refresh so you will see this. Hit that play and you will see us live, or you'll see the recorded show.
Right below is the Chatango web show for tonight.
Now, since we're not doing a show next week or the week after, or who knows, even the week after that, you could go on the side here and look at all our previous shows, get caught up.
Exactly, because our next show, I believe, the 13th of January, 2016. So we're gonna make it powerful show tonight, guys, and it's gonna be amazing because we're gonna be talking about one of the very interesting subjects about the night satellite disclosure, and
yes,
so on our show.
This is Chatango. You can come and interact with us. Now let's get to the popular pictures of the week on both Conspiracy Talks on Google Plus and Facebook.
All right. Nothing will end war unless the people themselves refuse to go to war. Albert Einstein.
Yes, humans are
warmongers.
Humans are the ones that create the wars, right? Well, it's the governments actually.
Yeah. Well, it's above the top governments that are doing this.
People could do their research. They know who the hell is starting these wars. Why? We don't need wars. People shouldn't be dying. Stop the slavery. That's what I say. So we on next.
Muslims didn't attack us in San Bernardino. It was 3 white men.
Yeah, because a lot of people they think it was the Muslims, but apparently, like we spoke about last week's show, witnesses saw 3 white men dressed up in military outfit going and shooting people. So, and then people are like saying on the conspiracy talk, oh, but you know what, I'm leaving this group because now it's 3 white men. Why always the bull crap? Well, it's not, because we're doing our research and we're reporting exactly what we're seeing, not from CNN or Fox, but bull crap news.
CNN likes to fearmonger a lot.
Yes. So we've on next. This is from you, your favorite picture.
Just add puppet. Both repeat every 4 years. But there's something wrong with this meme right here. You know what's wrong with it, eh?
Yeah, because next year it might be Hillary.
Exactly. You have to put a dress on.
Dress. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But
it remains to be seen.
Exactly.
All right, so we've on next. All right, my favorite.
Quit making stuff up. That's ancient aliens. The aliens are beating this guy up. Do you know his name?
Guy. You know, I can't pronounce the Greek guys if my life's name depends on it. Giorgio, what's his name? I forget his name. People know who we're referring to there.
Yeah, they're beating him up. That's funny when I see this picture.
I know. You know what? On the MnRTV Live Show, we have to show some humor, right? So we've on next.
Okay. Jimmy Carter responds to being called the worst president by John McCain. That's a compliment to come from a warmonger. I was lucky enough when I was president to keep our country at peace and provide peace for others. I was lucky enough to go through my 4 years. We never shot a bullet or dropped a bomb or fired a missile. Jimmy Carter.
I like James Carter. I don't see nothing wrong with him, unless if someone could say I'm wrong. I don't remember him doing anything.
And he's actually seen a UFO. Did you know that? And he wanted to disclose it. I don't know why he didn't, though. Maybe someone knows in the chat room.
Who knows? But you know what? We'll soon find out, right? Everything will be let out.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. So we've on next. This will offend a lot of people.
The devil is not anti-religion. He is anti-Christ. He has divided so many religions to blind people of the truth of God's gospel. Why would it offend people? It doesn't offend me. It's bloody true. That's what the devil does. That's what he's been doing.
Because they're going to say that it's a religion, but it's not religion. That's what people don't understand.
Exactly.
That's not a religion. But yeah, the devil, he likes to deceive people. He's good at that. So we've on next.
That's all he does. Okay, right here. Our rules for the government. The Constitution, laws and regulations, the government rules for us. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
The book keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I wouldn't want to be the one to copy from page 1 to 300, 400. How many pages is that? 500 pages. I wouldn't want to be the one to copy or find whatever is in there. But it's basically don't do this, don't do that. We're not allowed to do anything. That's what basically the government rules for us is. We can't even do this show. I bet you in that book it says stop the MnRTV Live Show from being shown on Wednesdays. But let's not give them any ideas, eh?
No, that's what they're trying to do anyways. Every Wednesday they see some kind of problem.
So we've on next. Here they are.
Anonymous. You might be a product of pop culture disinfo. If you were a mask owned by Time Warner based on a Jesuit agent and post cliche quotes on Facebook from Voltaire, George Carlin, and Tupac, but have no idea who started the truth movement. What's your take on this?
I always said that these guys are CIA agents. I always said it. I mean, for Isaiah's to actually say that, for these guys to know where Isaiah's is on Twitter, to know all the members, they have to be part of the CIA, like Isaiah's is. ISIS.
ISIS, the Daesh, like they call them.
Okay, Daesh. But these guys are frauds. Anyhow, why do you have to cover yourself, cover your face? The whole thing. We don't do that. Anyway, so we've on next.
Totalitarian government control comes in many different flavors, giving the the voter an illusion of choice. Yeah, all these choices. And the silliest one is the one in the middle.
But he's the funniest one, Rob.
I know, but I just don't like him. But
I don't trust him.
the thing is, I call him Donald Dumb.
Hmm. I don't know.
The thing is, he's on Alex Jones show, and even Mr. Miller wonders why he's on Alex Jones show, and he doesn't like that either. And I told Mr. Miller, I don't trust H anymore.
No, who does? The guy's a billionaire. He's probably a well, he is a globalist himself anyways. He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
We're scum to him.
Home or, I don't know, some big house and then the state that's within $1 million.
With his wife Ivana. What? No. Well, I don't remember his wife. I know he had so many.
Who?
So we'll go on next.
Yeah. The truth movement started by studying biblical prophecy, history, and current affairs.
Always remember that. True fact. Don't bash the Bible. So we've all next.
Don't. Dear soldiers, if you're looking for the terrorist threat to our freedom, it turns out you take orders from them. They're called the federal government.
Here it is, right there. That's where they're located.
Washington
District of Criminals, DC. No?
Yeah. District of Criminals.
Get it? Got it? Good. So we've all next.
On media, in reality, there's Daesh right there, ISIS, and with their flags, and then you have the American flag.
Because in reality, Daesh, or like you call them, or ISIS, like I call them, they're paid by the CIA, which is in turn the USA, right? The government pays for them. So that's why we see the government flags.
They're radicalized.
Yeah, well, they gave them money, weapons, enough to do their damage. So we've all next.
The more you research, the crazier you sound to ignorant people. Isn't it true?
Yes, it is true. And that's why I keep stressing, and we keep stressing here on the MnRTV Live Show, that it's very important that you do your own research. Or I hate that word. Just do it, and don't bash and don't say you guys are wrong or right. Just do your own research and find out for yourself, because you know what, with the power of the internet, it's out there. You just have to go out and reach it and get it and know the facts. So we've on next. These guys again.
The official mascot of the pop culture half-truth movement. I know.
Not full movement, right?
No, there's not half-truth, half-fake movement.
They've been infiltrated.
I think it started out as a good thing, but then it got infiltrated.
But maybe they were always infiltrated. And now look at this one. This I like.
Keep your eyes on the screen. Gay marriages, the American flag,
isn't it Confederate?
And the ISIS. And look who's there. USA, Uncle Sam, and the global corporates, the Zionist Illuminati right there.
You see, and this is where they want us to be, me, you, or you and I.
And
right?
you.
But it should say Canada, or all to our American viewers out there. They're the ones watching this, getting distracted while the TTP trade deal is going on between the global corporation, the globalists, the pigs, with Uncle Sam. That's what's happening. That's what it's all about, in a nutshell.
I love it. I love this whole thing. That should be that post meme should be everywhere on Facebook, all over the internet.
Yeah, but sheeples don't get it, just like sheeples don't get this.
Yeah.
So if guns kill people.
So if guns kill people, I guess pencils misspell words, cars, drive drunk, and spoons make people fat. Isn't it silly?
Guns don't kill people. Stupid people kill people, right? Stupid people kill. Stupid people drive cars wrong. They kill. Stupid people write stupid things. It's all about stupid people. But it's about the smart people. It doesn't concern them. Smart people don't kill people. Smart people use the pencil right? They
Yeah,
drive cars smartly. That's how it is. So that's the pictures of the week found on the Conspiracy Talk on both
indeed.
Google Plus and Facebook. Speaking of Conspiracy Talk, right there. Here it is.
Exactly. And the fastest growing website conspiracy group on Facebook right now. And there you can see our members, our wonderful members. You see the pictures, hey Mario?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And there's a pinned post of tonight's show.
Yes. And then if you don't know how to get our show, this is it right there. This and bookmark it if you can. And then you can come in.
Conspiracy Talk on Facebook and Google Plus. But this is the one from Facebook, obviously. And people post all kinds of information there.
But not trolls or spammers. That
Well,
there's
today there was a spammer.
what's there?
Well, I didn't even know. Somebody reported it. Somebody reported it was a spam, so I took care of it. Someone posted.
Oh, that's why we clamp hard on them.
Do you like the picture?
Yeah, but it's not Christ on the Christ. It's a good. It symbolizes good, but we gotta remember that that's not how Christ looks.
Well, we don't know how it looks, but this is just an emblem of ISIS. You will bow before the Son of God.
Yes. So, and now we'll go on Chitango and see. Look at all that. Wow. Look at all the people going, riding on there. I just love it. I love it seeing people interact on Chitango, right?
Exactly, for sure. I know that, and people ask questions or whatever there is. It's great having that chat room. Very important.
All right. So now, shall we commence with the news of the week?
Montreal bans single-use plastic bags as of 2018.
Yeah. So now doesn't this
I have to freaking go outside with a bag everywhere I go. Is it possible? I have to bring a bag just to go downtown and hang out in case I buy something.
Look what it says here.
Greater Montreal announced Thursday a ban on non-biodegradable single-use biodegradable single-use use plastic bags starting in 2018, the largest of its kind proscription in Canada, while urging other major cities around the world to follow suit.
Now, you know why I'm posting this? Because there's a reason why they're doing this. Remember they went to the climate conference?
Yeah.
Remember they went to the climate conference? Well, there's a lot of things we don't know what the hell they were talking about at the conference, right?
That's for sure.
But you know why I think this is the reason why right there.
Plastic bags and petroleum. What's the link between plastic bags and petroleum? Plastic bags are made from petroleum, which means plastic bags are one way we are depleting our oil supply. So maybe they're scared of oil supplies, right?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's why this is happening. It's because you know how much plastic bags we produce every single day. People use
it right there. Estimate about 12 million barrels of oil a year are used in making plastic bags in the USA. 12 billion barrels just for that.
Look how many.
That's 520 bags a year, a fuel equivalent of 600 miles of driving. Think about how that adds up when you consider that the US has over 300 million people. It's another way that little actions create big impacts.
Maybe that's what they were talking about at the climate change congress.
But why here in Montreal? Why here in Montreal?
How do we know? Because here in Montreal, they test out everything on us. That's why. This is the land of confusion between the English and the French. So this is the easiest way. Just give them stuff so that, we test it. We're like the guinea pigs, That's what I've noticed that. I've noticed that a while ago. We're like guinea pigs here in this beautiful province of ours.
Yes.
But you know what? That is exactly, I'm sure, because nobody knows what they were talking about in the climate conference in Paris. Do we? We don't know.
No.
What were they really talking about? We know that they didn't want people to protest, so maybe that's why there were what happened in Paris, the 13th of November, was because of that. Just martial law to keep everybody intact at home, stay home, no protests.
A distraction.
Sweep on next. Now we're going to talk about CERN.
CERN hired Proof Communications to develop 5 years comm strategy. CERN, the organization behind the Large Hadron Collider, has hired technology, science, and engineering PR agency Proof Communications to produce a 5-year comm strategy after competitive pitch. Oh yeah, and there's the Hadron Collider. Proof, which is part of a global technology marketing company, April 6th has already begun consultation process with staff at CERN and external stakeholders as it embarks the creation of a comm strategy for the next 5 years. The aim of the strategy is to help CERN maintain its reputation in the field of science technology. A team of consultants from Proof and the April 6 team will also recommend about internal digital comms tools that can be deployed. Speaking of which, did you hear that they discovered something about the Gog particle? They discovered like some kind of like its cousin that's even bigger than the Higgs whatever it's called. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, well, what was it they discovered? The Higgs. Oh, I forget the word now.
Yeah, but you know what? The whole point of us showing that article before, that news bit, is for one reason. Because you know what? CERN is alive and well, and the media doesn't cover CERN. Why is that? Right?
Exactly. Because they don't want to tell people what's going on, you know.
It's their little secret for us. That they're saying for us to know, for you, sheeples not to find out, right? Kind of like the next thing that I'm posting here. Fuck Fukushima.
Another thing that's been hidden. Over 100 new radioactive contamination sites found off North America's west coast.
Yeah, this thing is still leaking. Eh? People don't realize that. Look at that. This thing is still leaking.
New research has found that radiation from the damaged Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in Japan has reached more sites off North America's west coast, with the highest levels of radiation detected to date. Scientists monitoring the spread of radiation in the ocean from the Fukushima nuclear accident report finding an increased number of sites off the U.S. West Coast showing signs of contamination from Fukushima. This includes the highest detected level to date from a sample collected about 1,600 miles of San Francisco. The level of radioactive cesium isotopes is a sample 11 becquerels per cubic meter of seawater, about 264 gallons, is 50% higher than other samples collected along the West Coast so far, but it's still more than 500 times lower than U.S. government safety limits for drinking water.
Now, how come this is another thing? Why aren't we talking about this on mainstream news? Why?
Because they're too busy, and this is not a knockoff, but they're too busy talking and promoting Star Wars.
I know.
We love Star Wars, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, if the way that they're publicizing Star Wars, if they publicize what's really going on in the world, we get a lot of things done. Sad life.
But there's really no excuse, because the news is out there. There's really no excuse for it. I mean, people just have to remember what we said. You got to do your research.
Yeah.
This is it. You got to do your own research. Keep a tab. Keep a close eye on this, you know? Because you need to know for yourself. You don't have to take our word for it, but anyways, you could take our word for it, but do your research. That's why all these links that we're showing, they're all going to appear in the bottom in the description of the show. Because a lot of people, they keep asking, where's how do I find what you were talking about? It's there. It's always there, unless they take it down because it's very important. So move on next. Here's the next one.
China and Russia developing killer robots. Pentagon grows anxious.
Isn't this crazy if this is what's happening?
It is.
Terminator, look at that.
The Pentagon is paying close attention to China and Russia's attempts to develop autonomous killer robots. Deputy Defense Secretary Robert Ward said in National Security for Monday that these robots may be capable of conducting independent operations, Defense One reports. We know that China is already investing heavily in robotics and autonomy. And the Russian Chief of General Staff, Valery Vashlev, Gerasimov recently said that the Russian military is preparing to fight on a roboticized battlefield. And he said, and I quote, "In the near future, it is possible that a complete roboticized unit will be created capable of independently conducting military operations." Isn't this like iRobot also?
Yeah, well, but you know what? There might be something here. This is what is really Russia and China. They're really discussing, and what they're really what's the
The colluding
allies. They're allies because of this. Not really because of the petroleum, the gas, but because of this.
Exactly. Exactly, for sure. I agree with you 100%.
But you know what? It's like, when are people going to realize it for themselves? Now, this one will make Donald Trump's hair stick really high up. This one. This
Fake
one
hair
will.
he had on his head.
His wig. Does he have a wig?
I think a toupee or something.
Whatever.
Over 10,000 lone children apprehended crossing Mexico-U.S. border in the past 2 months. Despite the Obama administration's insistence in 2014 that illegal borders crossing from Mexico are an urgent humanitarian situation, the number of unaccompanied minors crossing over has soared to over 10,000 over the last 2 months in a new surge. U.S. Border and Customs Protection is reporting a 106% increase from last year's October 1st, November 30th period, with 10,580 children apprehended compared to last year's 5,129. The same can be said of family detentions to an even larger degree. The October 1st, November 30th period last year saw 4,527 arrests, where there was 12,505 over the same period in 2015, a 176% increase. Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that, is he?
No, and I'm sure he's going to say, like, what the hell? Someone get a hold of Donald Trump, show him the MnRTV Live Show, and show him this news bit right here. Oh, there was a picture. I wonder what happened to the picture. Oh, that's bad. There was a picture. You actually see kids crossing.
Oh, it got taken down.
Maybe. And this is from our best favorite, Arte. So, Arte, Russian television. Yeah, where's Paulie? Paulie likes Arte. He's always talking highly about Arte. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. Some of these things, I don't know. We're around that time of day now where we got to talk about our always highly topic, right? Hold on. And this one is from
OpenMind.tv.
Yeah, so here it says Canadian witness says UFO hovered
at 200 to 300 feet.
Yes, it hovered.
Yeah, okay. We could see that. A Canadian near King Kensington, Prince Edward Island, PEI, reported watching and videotaping a glowing light several hundred feet above sea level, according to testimony in case 57090 from the Mutual UFO Network. MUFON witnessed reporting that database.
And here's the UFO.
The witness said the light appeared to be hovering about 200 to 300 above sea level. Wow, that's amazing. The lights were 200 to 300 feet above sea, 1 mile offshore in a diamond shape, the witness stated. They hovered. The witness stated on the video that he would be able to see a boat at that distance and that there is no oil rig in that area. The object appeared to hover in place during the entire video. Canadian field investigator Geoff Jens investigated this case that occurred in June 4th, 2014 and closed it as an unknown. Of course they closed it as unknown.
I mean, they're everywhere, these UFOs, even up here, up north.
Well, yeah, I've seen one last year. I reported to MUFON, but nothing came out of it so far.
But of course they're up north over here because we're near the North Pole. And the North Pole, they're according to what we heard before, there was hollow earth, right? So that's how they come in and out.
Yeah, the hollow earth and also the South Pole, the hollow earth theory.
I wonder if there's any more news on the hollow earth.
I don't know. I'd love to do another show on the hollow earth. In fact, I'd love to go there if it's true that it's paradise down there in the hollow earth.
Look at this, Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, a second sun, and it's supposed to be like paradise in the hollow earth. And people there are supposed to be technologically advanced on the hollow earth.
Well, don't get me started on what? The hollow earth. People don't like hearing about the hollow earth.
No. It's about somebody said they should close the borders.
No, I mean
all the borders until everyone knows not to kill themselves.
Yeah, but I like the Mexicans. There's nothing wrong with them. Now Donald Trump will really want my head for saying that.
He does want our
Here's the next one.
Donald Trump does want our head, that's for sure. After blaming Siberian UFO sighting, expert offers scary explanation.
I hate this. Hold on, let me clear it. Why did they do this to me? Why must they always mess with me like this? It's like, I don't want to subscribe.
Where's the X? Find it.
I'm trying to find the X. Why would they do this to me? It didn't do this before.
Maybe if you minimize it, you'll be able to find the X. Minimize your page.
Maybe that. No. Subscribe. No.
If you minimize it.
I can't minimize it.
You can minimize it through your Chrome.
No.
Because sometimes I do that, and the X would be right where on the right hand side, because it's probably very big right now. That's what I
made it small. Look how small I made it. Why did they do this? Because they know we're doing a show and we're using some of their products. Oh, here's the X.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about that, people. Here we go.
Sometimes even government secrets, where people think that what they saw was aliens and not government secret activity. Well, that we know that's for sure.
Is the writing too small?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just make it a tad bigger. There.
When a spectacular bright object descended from the evening sky on November 17th over several cities in Siberia, many people thought they were seeing a UFO, especially when an official explanation of the event wasn't immediately offered. The following video posted on YouTube by PE Omask, a local Siberian news service, shows the object as it was captured on video by citizens at different locations.
Look at all the snow.
Yeah. Initial theories and online comments ran the gamut from the UFO to alien wormhole connecting our galactic neighborhood to another to an undisclosed secret military rocket launch. A similar incident took place in November over California, where many residents reported seeing almost the same thing that Siberians would witness almost 2 weeks later. In the West Coast, object was identified as an unarmed missile test fired from a Navy submarine, the Associated Press reported. The AP indicated how Navy Strategic Systems programs frequently conduct classified missile launches to ensure the continued reliability of the systems. But what about the Siberian event? It was the 12th test and a bizarre Russian missile program to develop defense-penetrating warheads, reports James Oberg, NBC News space consultant on the All-American Russian and other foreign space-related issues. Now, what was it? What exactly was it? Was it a missile of some kind? And what they want to do is say, it might have been a UFO, because they're actually hiding that actually it was some kind of secret technology, which was done by, was interesting, by the UFO that they captured back in 1951, and all the technology that they get from the aliens now.
But you see, here it is, and we've seen something like this before.
Yeah.
It was a missile. See, here's the picture, but then over here, it doesn't look like a missile. Over here, it looks like some kind of a wormhole. No?
I know. Or maybe something from CERN.
Well, only time will tell. They better not be lying to us. But then again, Russians don't lie, do they?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they lie, if they don't, but...
Could we trust Russia?
Well, didn't they say 20 years ago we kept when we used to study eschatology, we used to say that the Russian bear is waking up. So can they really be trusted? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we could trust them. You know?
Well, yeah, I don't know. A lot of we talked about this last week that Putin wants to do this for the Illuminati.
Yeah, but maybe he's just doing it. And could we trust him? I don't know what to trust of Putin anymore.
I know. Exactly. But
Sure.
we're gonna be going on break because I think Chris is bothering Mario. I could sense it. I could feel it. And when we get back, we're going to be talking with our special guest tonight, Leland Judyn, the Black Knight Satellite Disclosurel. That and a whole lot more when we come back from break. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Yeah, so stay here because there's a lot of information for people like yourselves to grasp and get, because it's very informative, right? So
Yeah.
here she is. Here's Trish.
Black Knight Satellite from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia photo of a thermal blanket let go from the International Space Station during STS-88. Claimed by conspiracy theorists to be the Black Knight satellite for the British rocket program, see Black Knight rocket. The Black Knight satellite is claimed by some conspiracy theorists to be an object approximately 13,000 years old of extraterrestrial origin orbiting Earth in their polar orbit. Critics and mainstream academics have called it a conspiracy theory and a myth. 2-3 History Edit. According to UFO conspiracy theorists, the Black Knight is an alien satellite which has orbited Earth for 13,000 years. However, the mythical object is most likely a conflation of several disconnected stories. 421 According to Senior Education Support Officer Martina Redpath of Armagh Planetarium in Northern Ireland, Black Knight is a jumble of completely unrelated stories. Reports of unusual science observations, authors promoting fringe ideas, classified spy satellites and people overinterpreting photos. These ingredients have been chopped up, stirred together and stewed on the internet to one rambling and inconsistent dollop of myth. The origin of the Black Knight legend is often retrospectively dated back to natural extraterrestrial, repeating sources heard during the 1899 radio experiments of Nikola Tesla. 5 and long delayed echoes first heard by amateur radio operator Jorgen Haus in Oslo, Norway in 1928. 6 According to the Daily Express, the noises from 1899 and 1928 remain a mystery, but the possible causes do not so far include an alien satellite, according to scientists. One in 1973, Scottish author Duncan Lunan analyzed the long-delayed radio echoes received by Haus and others, and speculated that they could possibly originate from a 13-year-old alien probe located near the star Salambo. Lunan later retracted his conclusions, admitting he'd made outright errors and characterizing his methods as unscientific. 421 in 1954. Newspapers ran stories citing a statement by UFO researcher Donald Cahoe that the U.S. Air Force had reported that 2 satellites orbiting Earth had been detected. At this time, no one had the technology to launch a satellite. However, skeptics have noted that Kehu had been promoting a UFO book at the time, and the news stories were likely written tongue-in-cheek and not intended to be taken seriously. 421 in February 1960 Time reported that the U.S. Navy had detected a dark object thought to be a Soviet spy satellite in orbit. However, a follow-up article confirmed that the object was the remains of an Air Force Discoverer 8 satellite that had gone astray. 471 in 1963, astronaut Gordon Cooper supposedly reported a UFO sighting during his 15th orbit in Mercury 9 that was confirmed by tracking stations, but there is no evidence that this actually happened. 412 Brian Dunning has said, this story appears in virtually every UFO book about the Black Knight case, but there's no record of any such thing from NASA, from the radar station personnel, or from any contemporary source. It's purely an invention of modern writers. Foreign object photographed in 1998 during the STS-88 mission has been widely claimed to be the Black Knight Satellite. According to educator Redpath and space journalist James Alberg, it's more probable that the photographs are of a thermal blanket that was confirmed as lost during an EVA aid to a British rocket called the Black Knight rocket that was used in conjunction with the Blue Streak missile program between 1958 and 1965 is unrelated to the Black Knight satellite legend. 2.
Thank you very much there, Trish.
It was great having you on the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's always is. Always special.
Now she's very happy that she spoke about this topic.
Yeah, because we found out about this topic on the black satellite.
Black Knight Satellite, yeah.
Actually, someone posted on the Conspiracy Talk, and he said we should talk about it. So I said, you know what? Leland was all into it and all interested about it in the time. So I said, you know what? Might as well. Why don't we do something before 2015 is over?
I guess Leland Judyn is an inventor or teacher, activist, and leader in the proper universe.
Yes, so we're going to really find out more about him.
But he's been on our show before, talking about the magic connection.
Yeah, that's very interesting. The Maggie. I listened to that show a couple of times myself.
Exactly. Oh, for sure, it's very interesting, and he's a deep researcher that specializes in these things, and we're glad to have him back on our show. And I think I'm gonna try and call him up. It's that time, I think, eh?
Yeah, well, we have a couple of minutes, but if he's ready, why not? I'll be ready.
Now, according to the intel that I've gotten, you know.
Okay, so call him up, bring him up. Let's dissect everything we can, because there's a lot to dissect tonight.
I know.
Right?
Let's go. Leland.
Hey, Robert.
Me and Mario welcome you to the MnRTV Live Show once again.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's great to be back.
Exactly. So tonight we got a lot of big subjects to talk about: the Black Knight Satellite Disclosure, and a lot more.
Yeah, I've got some updates on some of my research, and I also got some great new material here on the Black Knight satellite, so I can fill you guys in on that too.
That's great. That's wonderful. So let's get cracking. I suppose. Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got all my notes here, so I'm ready to go.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So, did you guys want to talk about the Black Knight satellite first, or maybe go over some of the stuff that I got some updates from the last time I was on the show?
It depends what Mario could show. Mario.
I'm just showing exactly what was sent to me.
Okay.
I don't know.
On the screen right now, is that my Twitch page or?
Yes.
It's on now. We got the Twitch page.
Okay. Yeah, so on my Twitch page here, I got all my different projects that I work on, some of my activism stuff and my Magi connections. And actually, since I was on your guys' show last time, I got hired by a group called Adept Initiates to talk about or write about blogs about the Magi. So I really owe you guys big time for having me on the show.
Congratulations for this.
Yeah, and then some of the other researchers that heard your show and wanted to share some of their stuff that they got that had to do with the Magi, and some of it was just incredible. There was a researcher named J.J. Ainsworth.
Right.
And she shared with me some of her research on some of these ancient tables for offerings and different rituals that she found in Egypt. And she wanted me to check to see if it matched anything that I found on the mountain. So then I don't know if you guys have the picture up there right now, but let me just check here. If you click on my latest exploring discovery, it'll bring up, oh no, there, that doesn't bring it up. Do you guys got the Magi offering tables picture on the screen right now? Or?
We got the Magi Universal Internet.
Okay, so that's on there. So yeah, it shows a bunch of the different things that that I discovered. The mountain actually matched the two pillars from Freemasonry. They have two that are pretty prominent. You can see it in that blog there. And pretty much if you want to just catch up on it, I guess we should get to the Black Knights. You guys can read the blogs later. I usually write some new ones about every week. And if you want to check out the Adepts Initiates page, it's all free to join. So if you want to do that,
sure, of course.
Okay, so covered that. And now I guess I'll bring up the slides that I got here for tonight's show.
Okay, yeah, we're on it.
Okay, the first one, the slide I got is the picture of the Earth with the Black Knight Satellite. And what the picture shows here is actually the latest image that we have from NASA that is a picture of the full Earth. I know some of the flat Earth people have been talking about how the Earth hasn't had a picture since the Apollo days. But this picture here is actually, I think, just taken last year of the entire Earth from a new satellite they have.
Okay.
Or maybe not a satellite, it was a probe. And then I put a picture of the Black Knight in the bottom corner of it just to show that this thing's in a pretty high orbit around the Earth.
Who took a picture of that probe?
I think this picture is actually the one from the space station mission you guys mentioned earlier when you were going through this stuff, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to go into the next slideshow, I would just like to explain that they talked about, too, how it was Nikola Tesla who discovered this satellite.
Yes.
And just in case anyone doesn't know who Nikola Tesla was, he was one of the greatest inventors in history. And he was also fluent in a lot of the ancient terminology. So I think he was really into the ancients. He knew about the connections, and that's probably what helped him find this Black Knight satellite. It wasn't just the fact that he was one of the first people to doing radio experiments.
Well, he was one of the greatest ones, Nikola Tesla, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how in the school system they always talk about Thomas Edison and all the other inventors, but Nikola Tesla seems to get a little bit skipped in the history books.
Well, that's what the elites wanted. They didn't want all this stuff to be taken into context and invented and mass-produced for monetary purposes.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla had a way of not sharing all of his information either. He kept a lot of it secret to himself as well. So I have a feeling that he probably knew a lot more about the satellite than he was letting on. But we did get some information about, I don't know if they calculated the orbit to, was it a high southern orbit, and it's believed to be 13,000 years old. But I couldn't really find any way to verify how they got this age of 13,000 years. Maybe they know something that we don't, right?
That's true. They could. That's possible. They don't know. They know more than we do sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to tell us what's going on.
Yeah. So if you want to go on to the next slide, I've got another one of the Black Knight satellite.
Okay, right here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and this one just has another close-up so you can get a better idea of the shape of the satellite. Just in case anyone's listening to the show and can't see it, it's kind of like I don't know how you would describe it, almost like a school bus, but it has pointed ends on the front, sort of like fins coming out the back, and a lot of different triangle angles on it. So it definitely isn't something that's just ordinary space junk.
Is anyone piloting this?
Yeah, I kind of wonder that too.
Is there someone in there, or it's just remote?
Yeah, I think it could be either. A lot of the alien technology I've been looking at or researching these days shows that they were able to change the bodies into the light body before they went into the ship. So even if it is smaller or bigger, I'm pretty sure they could fit a lot of people or entities in it.
I'd love to go there and see it, just to see, you know.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking that if you did want to see this thing, you could probably go to Area 51, because they're saying that this thing has been gone from orbit on occasions when they've tried to track it again. They're not sure if it's landing or what it's doing, so who knows with what's going on at Area 51. This thing could be making regular pit stops there.
or maybe it's from another dimension. It's happening to another dimension of reality.
Yeah, I always try to consider that possibility too. It's like it's not always going to be aliens from other planets. We have to consider the idea that there's also other dimensions here.
Exactly. I'd love to go also to Area 51 and Dulce Base. I'd love to go there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that we have all these secret bases here in America that even our president, or I guess the American president, doesn't have access to. It's incredible to think that this stuff is right under our noses. Right?
I know. Do you think there's some, speaking for Canadian viewers, since you're Canadian, do you think there's Canadians also, the Canadian secret bases? I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I would imagine there is. When I was doing some of my exploring up north, I actually came across a number of abandoned military bases, even some that were built on dormant supervolcanoes. So who knows how many caves and dwellings they still have in there. They look abandoned on the surface, but who knows for sure. Right?
Did you say dormant volcanoes? Because we have one right here in Montreal, Mount Royal.
Yeah, it's amazing when you go up north or even in the Montreal area, there's so many dormant volcanoes. I never knew that before I started traveling up north.
Yeah, we have one right here in Montreal, so I wonder if there's a secret base somewhere. Mario and myself should go check that out, right, Mario?
Yeah, I would love that.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be a fun trip. Yeah, so I started to look into more about the cover-up, about what's going on with this Black Knight satellite, and I found a whole bunch of connections that go on with different science fiction authors who try to sort of give little tidbits out in their movies and stuff to let the public on to what's really going on. So maybe if you want to go on to the next slide, it's got the false probe data.
Oh, yeah, false probe. Yeah, right here. We got it.
Yeah, I've been tracking NASA's every move since, I don't know, maybe even elementary school times. And I noticed that the probes are the only thing we ever get for exploration. It's like the manned space program took place before I was even born, and there hasn't really been any manned space exploration since. It's like we just send people up into orbit and then just hope that all the probe data that's coming back is official. Right?
We don't know what they're doing up there. That's the problem. Maybe they're interacting with aliens, and they wouldn't tell us. Or what I heard also is we're not allowed. They're forbidden from talking. The aliens don't want that for whatever purpose that they have.
Yeah, I totally agree with that idea that they're not allowed to disclose what's going on. And that's actually what this next slide I'll be talking about here is. I'm sure you've heard of Gene Roddenberry before, the creator of Star Trek.
Yeah, I have.
Well, he was a great science fiction guy, and he was able to predict almost everything that we have today, like even our cell phones and stuff back then. But some people are saying, why? Why was he so way off on the spaceport exploration part? Like here he shows all these ships, we're going to be flying around in space, but he was way off because we're not actually exploring space, and we're just doing probes and no ships with no people at all. But then I wondered, like, maybe he actually had an idea of what was going to happen in the future, and he couldn't disclose it openly because of the cover-up. So he actually released an episode of Star Trek Next Generation, episode 4, and it was called Clues. So I watched the episode to see if maybe he left a clue in it. That'd be kind of ironic if he left a clue in an episode called Clues, right?
Exactly, and all the technology that like in 1987 Star Trek, I think that's what in 1987 that Star Trek The Next Generation, they had tablets there.
Yeah, they even had the tablets and the touch screens and pretty much everything we're using today, except for spaceships, right?
Yeah, but maybe they have the spaceships where we're not allowed to see them.
Yeah, so we'll go on to the next slide. It's got a picture of Gene Roddenberry there.
Yeah, Ancient Space Conspiracy.
Yeah, so there's the cover of that episode that he released called Clues. And when I watched it, I don't want to give away the whole episode in case anyone else wants to watch it, but basically the overall theme of it was that there was an ancient space conspiracy going on of a race that was on the moon, and they warned us to stay away. Sort of like the idea that you heard probably with the different conspiracy theories about what happened on the moon, right?
Right, exactly, that they were told not to come back. And there's also there's also the other one that they never actually went to the moon. That's another conspiracy in itself.
Yeah, I've heard that one as well. I'm not so sure I agree with that one just because of what I found here, but I'll cover that coming up soon. So I was hoping, maybe someone got a chance to ask Gene Roddenberry what he meant by this episode called Clues, and if he really believed there was a conspiracy trying to stop us from exploring space and giving us nothing but false probe data in the process. But he actually died of a sudden heart attack right after the episode aired on TV. So that was the last one he got to make. No one got to ask him about what he meant.
It's as if he was attacked by the Illuminati, whatever, some kind of kill. They killed him somehow.
Yeah.
Remotely or
I
whatever.
wonder if that's true, if they really are knocking people off, or it's just a coincidence. But when you start seeing all this stuff mounting up, it almost looks beyond coincidence. Huh?
It does, and sometimes there are no such things as coincidences, as George Norrie says on his show. Sometimes I'm sure you've heard that before, no?
Yeah, Coast to Coast is one of my favorite shows. But yeah, so I think we'll go on to the next slide, and I'll show you this one here. It's actually a title of a song. And the funny thing about this song is it's actually the opening theme song to one of the most popular science fiction movies regarding space. You've probably heard of it. It's called 2001 The Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I heard of it, yes.
Yeah, so Kubrick has often been mentioned in these conspiracy theories about not going to the moon, and that he filmed the moon landing as a fake excuse and all this. But kind of what I'm getting at with this theory is that I think Kubrick filmed the moon landing on the moon, or not on the moon, but on the Earth. But the reason he did is because what happened on the moon was just too much, and they couldn't disclose it, so they had to have an alternative film to use. So that's where I think his film came in.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's kind of the same theory, like that they didn't go to the moon that he filmed it, or that they did go to the moon and had to hide it, so he filmed it.
But how many people the fake moon, how many people were involved in this, you know? And how many people can actually keep a secret like this?
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing. I don't know. I guess I could disclose it here on your show. I haven't really told anyone about this before too publicly, but I go to Toronto every year, and one of the years I was going to Toronto to do some research, one of the astronauts was doing a public speech. What's the name? Yeah, Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin, yeah.
Yeah, he's the famous guy that punched a conspiracy theorist once.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure everyone's heard about him and how he reacts. So I really wanted to hear what he had to say about the moon. So what I did is I kind of bent the rules and snuck into this hall a bit early and managed to get a seat right in the front that I actually didn't even pay to get the extra front row seats.
Really?
Yeah, but it was one of those situations where it's like I couldn't resist. Seeing an astronaut in person was just incredible for someone who's still into NASA. Yeah? I was like a kid in a candy store there.
I can imagine. So what happened?
Yeah, but the really crazy thing that happened is when he walked into the room, and he was only a few feet away from me, I got the worst chill I've ever had in my entire life. Like every single hair on my entire body stood on end, like I'd just seen a ghost or something, right?
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, and that was so weird because that's only happened to me like twice in my entire life. One time was when I was standing actually next to a polar bear when I was up north, and there was only a tiny little cage beside us, and it kind of got me off guard, and I got that same feeling. And then one other time too is when I got to meet Mike Tyson. He gave me that feeling as well.
Mike Tyson, amazing, because Mike Tyson and...
Yeah, Polar Bear and Mike Tyson, both of these guys have like really incredible power, and it's like almost I reacted to being like a spider sense or something.
Yeah.
So I was really puzzled, like why did Buzz Aldrin trigger this fear sense in me that I did not expect to happen? He's one of my heroes. I thought he was going to, like, I'd be jumping for joy sort of thing.
Like admiration, like if you meet some kind of your childhood hero of some kind.
Yeah, and then I couldn't believe what happened when he did his speech. Is he started talking about every single detail about how the ship was built, and like every bolt and every thread and like every tech manual you can imagine. And his speech nearly put the entire audience to sleep, almost like a hypnotic state sort of thing, right?
It's almost as if it was for sure it was pre-programmed. The whole, you know. I mean, someone that goes to the moon and comes back, lives and tells about it is not going to be boring. His speeches are not supposed to be boring. Hey, I've been on the moon, and people go to sleep.
Yeah, you think it'd be the most incredible thing you'd ever hear about, right?
Exactly.
Why would he start telling you tech documents about what size bolts and screws you're using, right?
I'd rather, yeah, exactly. We don't really need to know the size and the screws and everything.
Yeah. So then, at this point, when he's got the entire audience almost asleep, I'm still on edge, just waiting for him to give a tidbit of information that's going to like break the case open on the moon. And out of the blue, what does he say? That his favorite experience, or his all-time best thing that happened on the moon, didn't happen on the surface. I was like, whoa, that's pretty big news. Like, if you're walking on the moon, or on the moon, you think that'd be the biggest thing. And you know what he said that the biggest thing turned out to be?
No, what?
Is when he did his first lap around the dark side of the moon, he said he looked down and the biggest crater that he'd ever seen in his entire life was on the backside, and it had a huge pyramid built right in the center of it. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. Did Buzz Aldrin just say there's a pyramid on the moon?
He actually said that.
Yeah, he said it. And I was like, oh my God, is the audience going to stand up and cheer? And everyone's like still in this hypnotic state. It's like they didn't even hear it. They're half asleep sort of thing. I was like, wow, I wish I had a camera to record this. And it's like, I ended up going onto YouTube and found a few guys that recorded it, but most of their footage ended before it got to that point in the speech. So if anyone else happened to be in Toronto in 2008 and heard Buzz do this speech, like, we should really get a clip of that onto YouTube or something, right?
That would be great. So he actually said there was a pyramid. Did he elaborate on it after?
Yeah. So that's what I was hoping. Like, at the end of this speech, there was a whole line of people that lined up for, I don't know, a good hour waiting to ask questions. And I was like, surely someone's going to ask him a question about what this pyramid was. So this little girl comes up and she gets to ask a question first. And she said something like, do you like NASA? And he answered that no, he doesn't think NASA is spending the money properly, that they could explore space a lot better. And then said goodbye and left everyone else standing there at the podium. So he didn't answer any questions, basically.
I would have loved to have heard his answer. I mean, a pyramid.
Yeah, that's like the biggest news I've ever heard from NASA or from a NASA astronaut. I can't believe that it's like how many years later and still no one's disclosed that yet. So you heard it here first on MnRTV that Buzz Aldrin disclosed that there's a pyramid on the dark side of the moon.
Exactly. We're going to have to put that in our tags and everything, you know, because that's like groundbreaking news, Leland. My God.
Yeah, and then the funny thing, too, is I tried to do some digging to see if I could confirm what Buzz Aldrin said, and it's true that even NASA admits that this giant crater is on the dark side of the moon, and they say it's the biggest crater in the entire solar system. So it's like, how the hell does our moon have a crater that's that big? That doesn't make much sense either. Huh?
There must have been something that went there a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be on the dark side of the moon. It's supposed to be ancient cities or whatever. It's moon structures and aliens working an alien base.
Yeah. So my research got to the point where I was like, yeah, I really got to find out who this ancient civilization is on the moon, and if we got any secrets elsewhere that we can find it. And Stanley Kubrick, in his choice for this song for the opening theme for 2001, picked this title Zarathustra. And people that aren't familiar with the Magi might not recognize that name, but it's also another version of the name Zoroaster. So he's referring to the ancient Magi in his choice for a song for his movie 2001. And it's that same song that everyone knows, like the da 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 da. It's such an iconic song.
I know.
And so many people it blows right over their head or one ear and out the other that they don't realize the title of the song is giving away who is this ancient civilization. It's like Kubrick knew that it was the Magi.
And
so
if you
want to go on to the next slide.
And don't forget also the song itself too. It's probably predictive programming itself. It's so like well known.
Yeah, and even the way it's sort of like it enlightens you, sort of thing. And it's like, wow, what an enlightening experience if you actually learned about the Magi. Because man, once you start getting into that can of worms, you've pretty much really started to see the bigger picture. You know? And if you guys want to go into the next slide that has Stanley Kubrick with the camera.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, it's on right now.
There. Yeah, so in his movie too, he also revealed some of the secrets of alchemy. And I don't know, you guys had a few MUFON guests on the show recently.
We had 2 of them.
Yeah, and I think during that show, the topic came up about how Bigelow was built a space station around the Earth.
Yeah.
And he's like the leader of MUFON, or I guess the main financial backer.
He was, but I think he's not anymore from what I understand.
Yeah, so what I tried to do is find out, like, why is Bigelow building this space station? Like, I think you guys asked him what he was building it for, and they said they didn't know, right?
Right, yeah, they didn't know.
Yeah, well, Kubrick knows what the space station is going to be used for, and he's showing it right here in the top right picture. It's got a picture of the Earth, and then it's got a picture of a baby, sort of like in a womb, looking at the Earth from space, sort of like he's hovering in orbit around the Earth.
Doesn't that look like some kind of interbreeding program?
Yeah, what it is one of the biggest secrets of alchemy And the Magi is, the forbidden knowledge that they gave to Adam and Eve that I covered in the last show.
Yeah.
Is their secret is the zodiac, and the zodiac is made up of where you're born on the earth, what time you're born at, and all this stuff actually changes how you're going to be born. So what the alchemy secret is there's a 13th zodiac that goes beyond the 12 zodiacs, and it's going to be the first person or human that's born in space that reaches the state of I guess maybe illumination or maybe a new hybrid program or something. But this, I would assume, is what Bigelow's doing with the space station. He's probably trying to conceive the first human in orbit to give birth to the first 13th zodiac.
Wow, that's amazing. And if you look at the bottom, it says he died at 70 also.
Yeah, just like Gene Roddenberry, I looked to see how long Kubrick lived, and he lived, I think, 666 days after the release of something to do with 2001. I think it came up on the show before. But yeah, he also died of a sudden heart attack at the same age. So there's another one. It's like, did he just die of a heart attack, or is it part of the conspiracy? No one will really know for sure, but it's starting to look a little bit suspicious to me.
It is. It can't be too many coincidences. One coincidence maybe, but not two of them.
Yeah. So there we got Gene Roddenberry. He warned us that we were going to not explore space and that there was an ancient race. I think Kubrick goes as far as to tell us who the race is. It's the Magi, and he even tells us what their goal is. So I think this Black Knight satellite plays into this big time. Like, it's part of this.
I have there's a question for you.
Sure.
Before, Susie is asking. So do you think the Kubrick? Awesome. So do you think the Kubrick video saying the moon landing was a hoax is a hoax? It's out there making news.
Well, there is. Yeah, I've seen that one come up in a few discussions, and to be honest, I just sort of skipped over it because I've watched so many Kubrick movies. I sort of have to pick which ones I'm going to watch, and don't really have time to watch them all. But one I did watch was the one made by Jay Weidner. He does a couple things called Kubrick's Odyssey, and if anyone's into some conspiracy movies about Kubrick, like, those are the ones that I like the best by far, if they want to check those ones out. And that Kubrick's Odyssey actually also mentioned the alchemy or the Zoroastrian connection to the Zarathustra song. So I was like, wow, it's good to know that I'm not the only one who's starting to see this stuff. It's getting out there.
And in the chat room, there's a video that Kubrick confesses moon landing is a hoax vid.
So someone was telling me that it's a hoax, and someone was faking his voice or something. Maybe that's what it was. And they put a picture of him next to it or something. What, did you watch the video? Or? No.
This is somebody put it in the group in the chat room.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Maybe there is something to it.
Yeah, just go in the chatango later on after the show. You'll see it.
All right, cool. Did you want to go on to the next slide then, or any more questions?
No questions.
Okay,
for
now.
Cool.
Yeah, the next slide I got is I started checking into NASA's history to see if any of the NASA astronauts were bold enough to say, hey, this cover-up saying that we can't go back to the moon has to end. And if anyone's actually going to work for NASA and be the big whistleblower like Edward Snowden was, right?
Right.
So then I checked the archives, and what do you know, that one of the very first astronauts took a lemon and hung it on the space capsule and told everyone that the NASA program was not working properly and that they were faking a lot of crap, right?
Oh, and don't forget, NASA stands for never a straight answer.
Yeah. So there's proof right here that even some of the top NASA astronauts at that point were like, hey, someone's got to step forward and say something here, right? Something's not right. And then, I don't know, did you guys hear what happened to Gus Grissom after he made that disclosure?
No clue.
All right, well, if you want to go on to the next slide, you can see Gus Grissom and his crew. After they made this disclosure announcement, they knew, I think, by this picture that things might go bad if people didn't back them up. Like, Edward Snowden had a whole bunch of people back him up, but he still had to leave the country, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, he's in Russia right now.
Yeah, so instead of leaving the country, these guys were so brave that they actually stayed here, and they were like willing to be there, put their lives on the line to get this message across, right? And then guess what happened is their message didn't get out because we didn't have the internet, I guess, back then.
No, we didn't.
And an accident happened on one of the landing pads shortly after this picture was taken of them praying, and these guys were all burned alive in a capsule. They took the capsule, well, NASA did, filled it with pure oxygen, and the slightest spark ignited it, and they were all burned alive. They wouldn't even open the door to let them out.
Oh my God, this was done deliberately by the elite.
See, that's the thing. The families knew that Grissom had made this disclosure thing, and they were pissed, and they wanted an investigation, just like the families from 9/11, right?
Right.
So if you go on to my next slide, they actually did get to the point where they hired an independent quality control and safety inspector.
Okay.
So he investigated this Apollo 1 fire and wrote a 500-page report, and he agreed. He noted all the irregularities that NASA violated safety protocols. And then guess what? 6 days after his testimony, him and his entire family were killed in a horrible train wreck.
Oh.
And that was the end. That was the end of the investigation. So there's still families from Gus Grissom's family and the other crew. They still want a new investigation in this, just like the 9/11 family still want an investigation for that.
So powerful people are getting rid of these people. They don't want the information out there.
Yeah, but this train wreck was such a freak accident. It makes you wonder, it's like, can this really be happening by accident? And it happened right at the same time. So I don't want to say that they were killed for sure, but it is starting to look suspicious. You know?
But the thing is, these people have powers beyond anything we know. They probably use the Luciferians. They probably use the demonic powers or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I started to get really upset about what was going on with NASA, and I was thinking they're a horrible business or organization, and they're really not helping anyone. But then when I started thinking about it some more, like, what happens if it's true that this alien civilization warned us not to come back and use death penalty as a threat, right?
Right.
Like, if you want to go on to the next slide. Just got a picture that shows the Magi connection above the moon. Top right, it's got a picture of some pharaohs from Egypt, and then it's got a picture in the top left. It's got the connection to the Magi, or Ahura Mazda, and the Freemasons. So that's basically what this is sort of summarizing, is maybe NASA isn't really these bad guys that we're leading them out to be, but they have no choice. Because if they don't do this stuff and stop us from exploring space, then we're going to pay the ultimate price. I don't know if they're threatening to destroy the Earth or just our civilization or what it is, but maybe NASA isn't this satanic organization we've been pegging them to be.
But the thing is, if you look at the pharaoh, beside the pharaoh, it looks like it is a being. That looks like an alien grave.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like the Freemason, it looks like, from what I can tell, logo.
Yeah, maybe that could be part of where the Freemasons come in, and the Illuminati and all this too, is maybe they're all in on this, and they know about the secret about not going back to the moon. They know we're not supposed to explore space, and then the only reason they keep it secret, hopefully, is to help us, and not for some nefarious purposes.
I hope so. I hope it's not nefarious, but when it's done by the U.S. government, you know, you gotta wonder sometimes.
Yeah, and if you want to go on to the next image, it's just got a picture of some of the NASA astronauts and some girl dressed as a robot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see her. Yeah.
And she's actually dressed as the Curiosity rover. And if anyone doubts that this stuff I'm talking about, the cover-up, is actually true or not, they can use the Curiosity rover as their #1 point of evidence. Because a lot of people don't know. I read all the specs about every NASA program, and I pretty much know every piece of equipment that's going to be on there. And they put an HD camcorder on this rover. And have you guys seen any video come back from Mars yet?
No.
Yeah, so isn't that kind of suspicious that we got a video camera that can film HD on another planet for multiple years, and they won't send us back any video?
Well, they're probably gonna wait. They're gonna doctor it and edit out stuff. And
I
add
started
stuff.
a bit of a firestorm on the NASA website because I went onto the forums and I started begging them every single day to release some video back.
And what happened?
What happened was at first they kept ignoring it, but then a couple other people were reading my post and they're like, hey, that guy's right, they should release some video. So then after, I don't know, maybe hundreds of people started posting asking for video, NASA actually came forward with an official reason why they're not sending any video back. And they said video from another planet would offer no scientific value. I was like, what? You gotta be kidding. Like, the first video from another planet wouldn't offer any science? It's like there's a lot of things you can tell from a video that you can't tell from a photo.
Exactly. It's because they're not allowed to, or they don't want to, they're not allowed.
Yeah.
Forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that, like, how long are we going to let this go for? Like, people should really push NASA and say, hey, if your guys' probe is really on another planet, just send us back some video to silence all the conspiracy theorists. Like, video is a lot harder to fake. If they keep sending probe images back, we know that that could easily be photoshopped. But if they send video back of, say, an eclipse or some amazing alignment in space at night, like, there's a lot harder to fake that video. They could settle the debate for good.
But for some reason, they don't want to. There's something on Mars that they don't want us to see.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is it's part of this plan that they're not allowed to let humans explore space, so they're just going to keep making these false rovers. And another thing that came up with the flat earth thing too is, like, a lot of people saying that if you don't believe NASA is honest about everything, that you think there's a flat earth. But for me, I think that NASA is actually a pretty honest organization for all of their research around the earth. Like, it's going to be a lot harder to fake any of that stuff, so why would they bother? Why would they just release the real information, right?
Exactly. I've got a question for you here.
Sure.
So does Leland believe we have gotten past the Van Allen radiation belts with our 1960s amazing technology?
Well, the thing is, back in the 60s, the radiation was bad, and I think they made it through, not because that they conquered the radiation, but back then safety restraints weren't as bad. Like, you could have a mission and have 5 people die, and they'd be like, well, let's do another mission, that sort of thing, right?
Right.
It's like nowadays we're in a society where everything has to be perfect, and you can't have anything slightly unsafe or you wouldn't be allowed to do it. So I think they made it through the radiation, and I think they got some damaging effects from it. But it's weird, the astronauts did live really long, so I guess that kind of could support the idea that they didn't make it through. So could be either. There's abundant evidence for both cases, really.
Exactly. So we go.
Yeah, I guess if you guys want to go on to I think this would be the last slide I got for today.
Okay. Yeah, we got it now.
Yeah, so some of the research I've been doing for the Adept Initiates project is looking into different aspects of the occult.
Okay.
And then trying to figure out the symbolism that's in them and explain it to people so that there's no mystery involved, that we don't wonder if it's satanic or we don't wonder if it's this or if it's that. We can just put it all on the table and let people decide for themselves what it means, right?
That's right. Exactly.
So,
go ahead.
So this Christmas picture that I have here is an ancient tablet, and I think it's from the Sumerian era, even though that the text at the top doesn't match. It's not uniform. But what it is the 3 magi that I talked about that visited Jesus last time on the show.
Yeah.
Well, when those 3 magi came, they already had their own religion, and obviously it wasn't Christianity because Christ wasn't even born at that point, right?
That's right.
So this is one of their tablets that they would have been following. And this gives an example that the 3 wise men, I don't know if you've heard the story how they followed the star, and a lot of people think it was just like a lighthouse.
Yeah.
In the way. Well, the problem that came up when they studied the science of it is that you couldn't just follow a star because it wouldn't line up properly to lead you to a certain location. And that's what this picture shows. Is that the magi are these guys dressed in red robes. They stand around a tree, and then they look up at a star. And this holy star of theirs isn't some magical lighthouse. It's an internet connection. Sort of like that universal internet I was talking about last time on the show.
Yeah, I recall. Yeah, you talking about an ancient technology, an ancient internet grid.
Yeah, so this is what the Christmas tree in everyone's living room is actually symbolizing. And I think that's even what the red robes came from Santa. I don't know, was Santa some sort of German creation or something?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but...
Yeah, so I didn't really look into the origins of that Santa, but I'm pretty sure that if these guys were wearing red robes and they're gathering around a Christmas tree underneath a star, that maybe Santa's creation had something to do with the people that knew about this information.
That's amazing. You know, that could be that's the Christmas tree that people have in their rooms, which is actually some kind of internet connection grid.
Yeah. So here these guys didn't need to follow a lighthouse. It wasn't that primitive technology. They were able to connect to the internet, and this internet told them how to get to Jesus, when he was going to be born, that he would be the next prophet. And it's kind of sad to think that a lot of people these days don't even believe that Jesus existed when you start reading the posts.
I know. A lot of people think he's just a fictional character. It gets me so angry.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If people are wondering for themselves if Jesus was real or not, these Magi guys, if you go over to, say, Syria and all the places that are going on with the wars right now, is they have the tomb of the Magi there. It's no mystery to them who it was. And a lot of this stuff isn't a mystery. The only way it became a mystery is when the Vatican took it, gave it to us, and then they took out all the meanings of it. So we're like, oh, what does a Christmas star mean? Oh, some lighthouse and pointing the direction, right? Or like the Adam and Eve story. Like, they don't tell us that this is the tree that Adam and Eve were around. And then people start thinking of talking snakes instead of an internet connection. It's quite a jumbled mess, really, right?
The whole thing's a mess.
Yeah. And then the thing, too, is when I'm studying all these ancient stuff, like, how do I really know that these ancient guys had it right, too? Maybe they based theirs on something else, and their whole thing could be completely wrong as well. But I'm just showing what they had, so I don't know if what they had is true. It's just way older than our Christmas tradition, almost the same.
Exactly. It's almost as if Christmas had to be, they made Christmas happen. Whether we believe it or not, it was part of the plan to have Christmas.
Yeah, maybe some of your listeners, like, I know I was teaching a class in London recently, and I was lucky one of the students in the class knew all about the Magi, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. So maybe there's some listeners that are listening to the show and know a bit about the Magi too, and they could help me out with this slide. Because I've sent it to a bunch of experts, and no one's able to determine what the text is at the top. Like, you know, beside the star, we've got some characters here. And usually when you talk about the Anunnaki and the Sumerians and all that, you get these triangle letters called cuneiform.
Okay.
But this lettering here doesn't match cuneiform. I don't know if it's supposed to be an earlier form of cuneiform. I tried looking it up, and no one seems to be able to match it.
Could it be an alien language?
Yeah, it could be. But actually, the closest match that I found for it so far, it might help anyone who's able to research this better than me, is I took some of the ancient tree symbols that were from, what is it called, Vedic text, the ones from India. And then I took some of the characters that were above theirs, and compared them to the ones above this star, and they almost match. So I was like, hey, maybe this is that missing link between the Sumerians and the Vedic text that we've always been looking for.
That's very fascinating.
Because we always say, like, which civilization is the oldest? Is it like the same as Zachariah Sitchin said? Is it the Anunnaki? Is it the Sumerians? Or could it be another civilization like the Vedic text says they have history going back millions of years? So that would be conflicting against the Sumerian and the Vedic. But now we have this link here that, well, maybe the Sumerian and the Vedic actually linked at one point.
In a few weeks, I'm getting an alien technology linguistic specialist. I should send.
Oh, really?
I should send the guest this picture.
Yeah, see
after
if you
the
can
show.
narrow down what that text is. Like, I don't even care what it says. Morally, just wanted to know what language it is.
Yeah, maybe she can tell me what this is.
Yeah, so far my best guess is that it's Sumerian cuneiform, or it could be Assyrian. I guess it could have the connection to the Vedic there, but yeah. And then you notice too that these Anunnaki guys are carrying that same bag that I talked about on the show. And I think the reason they're carrying this bag is because they have water in it, and water is one of the key symbols or tools you need to use to mirror the image from the star. If you don't mirror that image with water, you're just going to be looking at a regular star type image.
Speaking of Santa, because someone's talking about Santa, what do you make of what's your take on what's his name, Krampus?
Krampus. I think he was the Norse version?
It's like some kind of like he takes the bad children. There's like a movie out on Krampus right now.
Oh, really? Yeah, I briefly scanned over it, but I didn't see the details on Krampus. No.
Okay, he's supposed to scare Satan himself. Krampus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be very scary looking.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so I guess that would be it for the slideshow, but I do got some extra stuff that I can go through over on a couple links that I sent to Maria.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Links ready, or?
Yeah, I'm on actually YouTube.
Okay.
Did you want us to play it?
Yeah,
did you want us to play the video or mute it, or what is it you wanted us to do?
Yeah, I guess if you guys want to play the video, but you don't have to mute it because there's no talking in this video, so I'll be able to talk and explain while the video plays.
Okay.
And just if you want to tell me when you hit play on there so I can start explaining.
No, it's play.
Okay, there. Yeah, I can see it now too. All right, so basically what happened was I had to go to a city to visit film a climate march. You know how that summit was going on in Paris and all that?
Yes.
So what I did is I filmed there, and I wanted to get an inside story of what was happening at these rallies and to see what kind of issues are coming up to save the environment. And it was a couple of First Nations people were helping us lead some sort of like a powwow circle where everyone got together and held hands, and it was almost something like goodwill towards man, like the peace sort of thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then all the issues that we had here too, where you had your basic ones were about global warming, they want that to stop. But there was even a couple of geoengineering guys there too about the contrails. But the overall theme that the natives were telling us at this rally is that there's going to have to be a plan coming soon. It's going to help not only the environment, but it's going to help the refugees. And they think this plan's coming soon, and they're actually optimistic that all the nations of the world are going to come together and get past this hard times. So it was a really inspiring rally. I don't know if anyone else is into this activism stuff, but man, going to these rallies and actually cheering with the people and getting to meet other people that are into this stuff is really incredible.
Are these people aware of the New World Order?
Yeah, it's the funny thing is I talked to a lot of people in the audience, and they were, and there was a couple of people that said they wouldn't even talk to the different natives that were there, and they were aware of it as well. But a lot of people weren't comfortable talking about it on the microphone.
I guess
so. It's one of those issues, I guess, that people are still afraid to talk about, right?
Yeah, they're not like us. We're used to it.
Yeah.
They're probably afraid of speaking about such things.
Yeah, and I noticed the one thing that was really missing from these rallies is everyone saying, hey, we should shut down all the coal plants and use nuclear instead. But I'm not a big proponent of using nuclear power, so I was a little bit disappointed there wasn't more people saying, hey, nuclear is not a good option either.
It's not at all.
Yeah, just like Mario was talking about how Fukushima is still leaking. And actually our government, if we don't find a solution for our energy crisis, they're actually going to start storing nuclear waste right next to the Great Lakes, like pretty much on shore. And we've known the history of nuclear sites. They've always leaked. So it's pretty much now or never. If we don't come together, it's going to be bad news pretty quick.
And this could blow up, can it, near the lakes? Is there a chance that this could blow up and cause another meltdown?
Yeah, anything could happen really with those nuclear plants. Like you look at Fukushima, and then you look at, what was the one in Ukraine called Chernobyl, I think it was?
Yeah, Chernobyl.
It's like Chernobyl was a long time ago, and that land is still uninhabitable. So I don't know how these people getting off trying to say that nuclear power is somehow clean technology. It's not even close to clean. It's actually the dirtiest technology that exists.
And very dangerous too.
Yeah, I wonder too, like everyone says that the New World Order is going to try to push us to the breaking point, so we have to beg them for some sort of cure to help us with our problems. And what bigger problem could we have than radiation? Yeah?
Radiation, terrorism, which they create.
Yeah. So that's the thing, a lot of these other issues that we face, there's obvious solutions that we could work out, but with nuclear radiation, there's nothing. Like we can't even shoot into space, because if we do, it could blow up on the way and then rain down on us like a Russian probe did years ago.
And then you have a meltdown and people getting sick from radiation poisoning.
Yeah. So actually, when I was at this protest, there was one guy there that started yelling and screaming in the back, and he was trying to get the geoengineering word out there about contrails and stuff.
Okay.
But the crappy thing about it is he did it at like the point when everyone was trying to hear the speeches on stage. So him yelling in the back and the people on the stages, it didn't make a good combination, right?
I could imagine no one could have heard it, what he had to say.
No, and he came off kind of on the impression as being the crazy guy yelling in the back, and he was making the whole geoengineering movement look bad. And I felt bad for the other guys they were talking about contrails, because they were being real peaceful and they were willing to wait their turn to speak.
Maybe this guy was a government agent, still paid to do this.
I actually went and interviewed him. He's coming up here in the video.
Okay.
Coming up right after this point. Maybe I'll let him talk, but he seemed like one of the smartest guys I'd ever met. Like every time I talked to him, his terminology was up to date. Yeah, here's a picture of him here. So to say he's a government agent trying to make it look bad and stuff, personally, I don't think he was, but
You
I
never
don't know,
know.
just the way everything happened, it almost made it seem like that.
The thing is, maybe he was blackmailed. Maybe he's not really doesn't really want to do this, but he was forced for some reason into doing this.
Yeah.
They had him blackmailed. They said, "You go do this right now." Who knows? It's a
Well,
theory.
his issue on the chemtrails is actually different from mine. He was trying to say the idea of these chemtrails is to heat the Earth, and that he wants them to stop using them because he doesn't want a hotter Earth. And I was like, well, actually, when I looked into the chemtrails technology, it was the exact opposite of what he was saying. They were saying that it was being used to try to cool the Earth, and then this solar system-wide warming was getting so bad that it was the UN's last chance to try to save the Earth. So they didn't even bother asking everyone's permission. They just started spraying as a last resort.
But the thing is, I don't know about you, but in Montreal we have no snow, and it's December.
Yeah.
We're middle of December right now. In Canada, we have no snow. Not that I'm complaining, but it's just odd.
Yeah, I actually shovel snow a lot for money in the winter, so this winter is hitting me kind of hard. No, it almost seems like a coincidence again, right? Like they have this climate summit coming up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it got really hot, and in previous winters, it's been the coldest ever on record.
Like last
so
winter.
It's like just in time.
Last winter was terrible. It was really, really cold. Starting in November, it was freezing till April.
Yeah.
And now.
I know. Yeah, last winter was so bad. I was actually kind of looking forward to a bit of global warming this year.
Exactly. So I'm not complaining that there's no snow, and especially cold. That's the worst.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Maybe they turned off the chemtrails just temporarily so that it would get hot again, maybe?
Well, that, or we're thinking also that they had something to do with HARP.
Yeah.
You know, HARP, the weather modification machine. There's plus maybe CERN. We're thinking also, we have a theory that CERN may be involved in weather patterns also.
Yeah, the HARP technology too. Right?
Yeah, the HARP technology, CERN, chemtrails. There's a lot of conspiracies. There's a lot of conspiracies that we think, but we can't actually prove of what's going on. But definitely there is something abnormal about this weather.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully the whole weather situation gets corrected soon. But I guess maybe the real main issue that I was so happy about this protest when I filmed it is that the Native Americans gave me a few clues on what their prophecy said, that how we were going to turn this whole thing around. And I was like, I didn't get to hear the entire speech just because that yelling and stuff went on in the background, and my camera didn't pick up everyone's voices the greatest and stuff. But okay. I think I got enough of the gist of what they were saying that I can break down what I think a good plan is. Maybe even the same plan that those natives think that it's going to turn this thing around.
Yeah, we'd love to hear this prophecy. So what should we go up to next?
Well, on let's see, I got the protest video done. Okay, the next link after the protest video is that EcoWatch one.
Yeah, we're on it now.
Okay, so this EcoWatch program is actually, I think, what the natives were hinting at, is they think that we can actually turn this whole tide just by not destroying the environment anymore. And I was looking at this eco thing, and I was like, wow, this kind of technology is exactly what we need to fix the problem that we're facing right now.
So it's solar-powered farm.
Yeah, and basically what it shows in the picture is it's got on this website is that it's actually become more affordable, that we can really do an off-grid setup, and it's not going to cost millions of dollars per unit to build these off-grid farms. This website basically shows that there's a cheap alternative that they're starting to use is these shipping crates. And then we got wind generators, we got solar generators, and even solar technology's come so far in the past few years. Like the panels that I bought this year were about 10 times stronger than the panels I bought a couple of years ago.
Solar energy.
Yeah, so it's no longer some sort of myth or some Jetsons type technology that we're trying to acquire here. It's like this technology exists. We can start building these off-grid farms right now. We don't have to wait for something. And I think that's what this protest was going at, is if we manage to pull this type of move in our society off, it's going to be big. And I guess we'll go on to the next website, or did you guys look over this whole one yet?
Okay, yeah. Why is there going to be Wi-Fi in it?
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not going to have to live like savages in these things. It's like some people think of off-grid stuff, and actually the Rothschilds made an off-grid movie, and they portrayed everyone as being like hicks that are eating squirrels and like sitting around watching a campfire 24 hours a day because they don't have any electricity and stuff. But no, these off-grid, these farms that we're looking at, they're going to be souped up to the max pretty much. Like we're going to have satellite TV in these things. We're going to have satellite internet. It's like you're going to be living like the Jetsons. It's not like the Rothschilds are trying to make it out like.
Are we going to have flying cars?
No, I don't think quite the flying cars yet.
At least not yet, no.
Yeah, flying cars would be pretty sick. Yeah, then I guess if we can go on to the next one, there's another technology that's came out in Canada called hempcrete.
Okay.
Have you guys heard about this new type of concrete?
No, I haven't. Have you, Mario?
No, not at all.
All right, so basically what it is they've started making this new type of concrete that's super strong, and they're bonding it with hemp. So it's like if Justin Trudeau, now that he's changing some of the laws in Canada, maybe we can even get more hemp farms going. Because I'm pretty sure right now in Canada, we have a very minimal amount of hemp being grown. And the funny thing about this hempcrete is it's so strong that one of the most famous constructions in history is made from it is what are they called, the Roman aqueducts.
Okay.
Yeah, and those aqueducts were still good today. So it goes to show you how long this hempcrete can last for.
Wow.
You can just imagine if we start building these off-grid community farms out of these hempcrete blocks, not only is it going to be good for the environment, but it's going to be nearly indestructible.
But in order to do this, we have to defeat the Rothschilds and the Illuminati.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. There's definitely a lot of things holding us back at this point. One of our things holding us back is our dependency on a lot of this stuff, city life and constantly consuming too many resources. Like, I'm kind of hoping in the future with this off-grid movement that people start making new technologies. Like if we start all investing in stuff that uses less power, like OLED TVs, they use way less power than LED TVs. So you can see our technology could go and turn the tide, or we start using less power instead of more.
Have you heard of Li-Fi technology, Li-Fi internet instead of
Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
that's actually a great point that you brought up. Is it was an update that I talked about that I was going to bring up on the slide. I wasn't sure if we'd have time. But there's a new type of internet that came out in light. And I was thinking, geez, that's exactly what I talked about on the show last time, is that these stars provide the light that has the internet in it. And this is the actual new internet that just came out a couple of weeks ago. I posted the link actually on Conspiracy Talk if anyone wants to go back in the archive and look at it.
Yeah, I've seen it. So what are your thoughts? When is this going to come out, this Li-Fi?
Well, that's the thing. I think the closer we keep getting with this light technology, we're going to make this light internet. And when we start connecting into it, we're going to be like, hey, there was another light internet around the whole time that we didn't know about. So maybe we're going to connect into the universal internet once we have this light technology perfected.
I think that would be that would bring in the whole new world order.
Yeah, the universal internet.
Yeah, the whole mind, the one, like the beast system.
Yeah, like I wonder, once we connect to this universal internet, is it going to settle all the debates on the world, or is it going to make them worse? Like, if everyone finds out what the true God is from this universal internet, are they going to buy it, or think that this internet is also fake?
I think,
like, who knows?
don't forget they want one mind, one mind, one man, one religion, one system, one world order. So yeah. I think one day they're gonna plug in the internet into us.
Yeah,
in our brain.
Or we already are the internet, right?
Well, I sometimes wonder if Google is not alive, if it's not alive itself, a living entity. Google.
Yeah.
Self awareness.
Yeah, it's one of the things I looked at too. Is the human body is the closest thing we have to the most powerful computer that exists. So maybe our bodies are being used to render an internet as well. Sort of like the Matrix movies, all those guys were in battery packs or whatever when they saw what the Matrix really was.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm thinking that's where we're going here, is that we're actually, our bodies are being used as a biological internet. We're all just a bunch of hard drives walking around while these entities are using us to render a better environment for them to live in.
I'll take you even one step crazier, is that that we're living in a holographic universe.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't believe the Magi has a whole thing about the holographic universe.
yeah, you should tell us, like, you know, like, or like there's some people outside the universe, and this is all holographic. It's all a matrix that we're living in.
Yeah, well, even the Bible is just loaded with that material too. If you look at what is it, Genesis, we see the Earth was created in 7 days, or the entire universe.
Yeah.
And physically, that isn't possible with science. But if you wanted to actually render, say, a simulation in 7 days, that's possible. And then you look at the seventh day of the week, the Sabbath or whatever, how everyone's supposed to rest. That's actually a common theme in video games as well. If you have a massive universe that's being simulated, usually once a week or even once a month, they got to shut it down for maintenance. So they want less people to do stuff, just like the Sabbath.
Except we never, us humans work 7 days a week. Everything's open nowadays, 7 days.
Yeah, maybe that's why our simulation's looking so degraded, is because we're not resting enough.
I think the whole computer program simulation is the one big virus in it.
Yeah, there's definitely some cleaning up to do.
Exactly.
Maybe we can find an antivirus program, right?
Exactly, an antivirus.
If you guys want to go into the next slide.
Yeah,
it's like Justin Trudeau talking about some of the stuff that he's been doing recently.
Yeah. Justin Trudeau takes a first step towards marijuana legalization in Canada.
Yeah, and this actually kind of ties into my invention as well. As I voted for Justin Trudeau as well, because I think that cannabis technology is going to be big. Like there's a guy named Rick Simpson. I don't know if you've heard of him. Oh yeah, you guys posted a link.
Yeah, of course, yes.
So he does some work with cannabis oils, and he says that it can cure cancer. But technically, I don't know if cannabis or oil can cure cancer. I'm skeptical that it can, but in a way, I hope that he's right, right?
Well, of course, obviously, yes.
Yeah. So that's actually what my invention is going to be doing when it comes out in probably early next year. Is my invention collects the most potent form of cannabis oil ever created. So when this invention comes out, I don't know if Rick Simpson's going to try it. Maybe I should get him my invention so that he can do some experimenting and see if it is true that this stuff is going to be able to work towards making people healthier. And then this Justin Trudeau thing too is a lot of people, if we set up some sort of movement where everyone goes to live off the grid, we're not going to have any jobs of living off the grid unless we start using something like this. Like Justin Trudeau was saying at this environmental summit that he wants a new plan to help the environment, and he's going to donate tons of money from Canada to do it. But I don't really want to see them build projects in some sort of downtown city and have it all go to hell, right? I'd much rather see them invest this money into an off-grid program so that people that are either refugees that need housing can use it, or if people are, say, homeless, they could have access to it, or if there's veterans that need housing, that they could have access to it, or say if there's even students. Like a lot of students are getting killed with student loans these days, right?
Right, exactly.
Can you imagine if you were a student and they gave you an option? They're like, hey, instead of getting this huge debt, would you rather use your student loan money to have an off-grid cabin? It's fully sustainable. You'll never have to pay bills again. And then you could grow your own weed, sell it back to the government, and have that as your full-time job. Sounds like some sort of crazy idea.
It does, but it sounds better than the options we have now with credit card debt and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, if you compare that lifestyle with the lifestyle that we currently have, it would be paradise in comparison. So, like, I don't know, Justin, if he thinks that legalizing weed is going to help boost our economy, this is one of the ways that we could use it. Like, you don't have to use it for drugs. You could use it just for medical reasons, too, right? But I'm actually not into people using weed for drugs. I prefer people when they use it for medical reasons.
Exactly, but I'm sure the criminal elements don't want the legalization of marijuana.
Yeah, see, right now, the criminals are the ones growing it, and they get all the money. Wouldn't you rather have some off-grid student being able to grow it and getting an actual life and some money instead of being in debt for the rest of his life?
As long as he uses it for good purposes, not evil.
Yeah, so if you want to go to the next slide, we got Justin Trudeau, our next website, talking about the climate change thing.
Yeah, Canada's back, says Trudeau in Paris. We're here to help.
See, I think we're extremely lucky that Harper didn't re-win the election. Because if I came with this plan to Harper, you can imagine it would never even get to his desk. But Justin Trudeau is actually going for the liberal values. And this plan actually has a lot of the spoke points of what being liberal is all about, right?
Right.
Like they're supposed to be not conservative, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing, when we come up with this off-grid plan, I don't think we're going to be able to just protest and force Justin Trudeau to do it. If anything, we should go about this by saying, hey, we support Justin Trudeau and we support liberal ideas, and this is the best liberal idea that we think should be supported. It's like if we work with him instead of against him, I think this could really go our way. And if we tried to do this with Harper, we wouldn't stand a chance.
At least with Trudeau, we have a chance. He might listen.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. A lot of people have given Trudeau a bad name, and they're saying, oh, he's just another Illuminati puppet and stuff. But I actually got a chance to meet Trudeau on one of the old jobs that I worked at, or talk to some of his friends that knew him. And they said that, yeah, he could be involved with some of this stuff where he's going to be like blackmailed by the big companies to do whatever he says. But in a way, Trudeau is also going to listen to the public. Like, if he has a crowd of supporters cheering for him and ask him for something, he's not going to turn his head like Harper would. He's actually going to listen.
So, would you be thinking that Justin Trudeau could be our JFK?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at this point too. Is that like maybe he is our next JFK, and he can't just come out and say everything right away, or they're going to do the same thing they did to JFK.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to support him and be like, hey, this is some good stuff that we want you to do, and we're going to support you doing it. And then if he has enough people backing him, then it doesn't matter. The Illuminati can't just take him out because we're backing him up. If they try to take him out, we'll just replace him with someone else who also supports their ideas. And the Illuminati will see that. We can't just leave him out on the line here.
No.
Like, who knows? Maybe if more people would have supported what JFK was doing, that would have never happened.
Well, back then, we didn't have the internet, you know? I mean, when JFK came out with his Secret Society speech, that blew my mind. Wow. I wasn't alive back then, but when I researched it and I heard it, I'm like, wow. The only president to ever talk about it. I wouldn't see President Obama do this right now.
Yeah, he was just a little bit ahead of his time, it seems. Like, if he would have been a few generations later and had the internet backing him, then we would have been able to back him up. Can you imagine how many conspiracy theorists would have backed him up when he came out with that speech?
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have been incredible. But who knows? Maybe this is the next one. Like, we can't let this Justin Trudeau thing get wasted. While he's in office, we're going to have to get him to help us.
Exactly.
That's the best chance we've ever had, really.
I agree with you. It is. It is.
So if you want to go into the last link that I got here, Justin Dobbs to help the refugees.
Yeah. First plane load of Syrian refugees land on Canadian soil.
Now, there's a lot of issues that are coming up with this refugee problem, and I don't want to be too offensive about it, but just so everyone knows, is my family actually came to Canada pretty much the same circumstances.
Which country?
My grandfather that lived in Ukraine was actually sentenced to death, and he escaped to Canada. So I can sympathize slightly, I guess, with what these refugees must be going through in the same situation, right?
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, there's a lot of problems that people in our cities are voicing, and a lot of them are valid. Like, there's not a lot of jobs in our city here. So if we're taking these these new refugees and putting them in a city, they're going to be stuck with no jobs. The same situation we got. And then our healthcare system is already overburdened. We got like 12-hour wait times. And if we got a whole ton of new people coming in that are really sick, can you imagine what that's going to do to our city?
That's in a double time.
Yeah, and then you got the homeless people that are voicing concerns too. They're like, hey, we've been homeless on your guys' streets for how long, and how come you're all of a sudden helping these refugees and leaving us out on the street? Right?
I don't find that fair at all.
No. And then there's some veterans that are needing help, and they feel like they're being left out. The students are feeling like they're left out. And then there's a lot of people in Canada too that aren't really a fan of Sharia law. And if we start getting a whole bunch of people that are living in our city that support it, guess what? We vote for our laws, right?
Exactly.
Well, at the same time, I don't want to leave these refugees hanging, right? Like, we got to give them somewhere to go. And if it's not going to work in our city, maybe we could offer a new solution from Canada. That's what I was thinking. These off-grid places should be built up north. Like, I don't think we should be building and setting all these refugees up in Canada right in the busiest cities. It's just a recipe for disaster.
And don't forget that they're saying that some of these refugees could be part of ISIS.
Yeah. Well, that's always a possibility. It doesn't have to be Muslims either. Like, there's extremists in every religion. It's not just going to be Muslims. There's going to be Christian extremists too. So we're not just trying to single them out and say that. But At
Yeah,
the same time, we know that there is extremists in every religion, right?
exactly. You know, and some intel I got said that ISIS is happy about the refugees because they said a lot of them, they're part of it. I don't know if it's propaganda or what, but I hope they're really well screened before they come into Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say like how good the screening really is, but hopefully, yeah, most of the people that are going to be coming over are just going to be like my grandpa trying to escape a war and find a place to raise a family, right? So basically what my plan that I got here is I took all those refugee problems that we're facing and tried to turn them into positives. We can get this plan to resolve, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Yeah, so if we can take this plan and set it up so that instead of building all these places for refugees and all of our money going to support these refugees is being wasted in projects downtown that are just going to be destroyed. Like we've seen what happens to a lot of projects. Everyone knows what they're really like, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what maybe the solution here is we build these off-grid places uptown or up north. They've got the space up there, and it would offer them a full-time job. Like living off the grid, a lot of people think it's easy, but it's not paradise. Well, I guess it's partly paradise, but it comes with a lot of work too. Like you're gonna have to grow your own food, you're gonna have to harvest your own food, you're gonna have to be cooking your own food, maybe even hunting yourself, gardening, all this sort of thing. So it's not like these people that are going to be going to live off the grid aren't going to be having jobs. Not to mention if Justin lets people grow hemp or even weed on his properties, then they're going to have a huge income coming. They can sell it back to the government. The government can distribute it to different medical centers, right?
I would imagine it'd be harder to do these things in winter.
Yeah.
For the refugees that aren't used to our Canadian winters.
Yeah, it's funny. I did a lot of research into off-gridding technology, and it is freaking amazing some of the stuff they can do now. Like if we had to grow, say, hemp in the winter for these refugees far up north, they could still do it even without using too much power for heat. Because a lot of the off-grid technology places have started to invent composting heaters. I don't know if you've ever heard of one of those.
Yeah, I've heard of it, yes.
It's basically the same thing as a wood stove, but instead of burning the wood, you're putting it in compost, and the compost creates heat for months instead of just a few hours. And then that compost pile heats water, and then that water goes into the rads in your house and warms it. So basically, you can take all your waste from your compost and use it to heat your house, your greenhouses. It doesn't have to be like a winter wasteland. You can actually make it into a paradise with the technology we have.
Wow. Is there another picture that you wanted us to show?
I think that's pretty much it for pictures, unless you guys want to go over my Twitch page a bit. But I'll just go over some of the stuff that I got there.
No, there's something that says solidarity.
What's that, sir?
You sent something on solidarity. A picture.
Solidarity.
Yeah, maybe I got it somewhere here in my notes and I forgot about that one. But
yeah, we have it up. We have it up on screen for you to see.
Okay, I'll bring that up right now.
Free education.
Oh, the free school. Yeah. Let me check here. Yo, solidarity. Yeah, that's actually the class that I was teaching with in London. I forgot that that's one of the posters that they got there. Yeah, so when I was teaching this class in London, they said that they're all into protesting, and if there's any good ideas that people have, that they're willing to help back someone up for it. So I figured I'm going to put this plan together and discuss it on your show. And I actually got a data stick here. One of the representatives of the Environmental Commissioner of Ontario gave me all the forms I need to actually put this plan into action. So I'm going to talk about it with the free school, see if they can help me get the forms filled out. Maybe we can get this off-grid program going.
Exactly. Oh, I love that idea for sure. Solidarity, free education. I'm living off the grid.
Really cool. Like they hold different classes of all types. If you wanted to go there and learn about art or something, they have classes for that. Or they even have classes on the occult information, learning about the Illuminati and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good. They even let me talk about the Magi for the whole class. So it's a really cool school.
You mean there's a school that talks about the Illuminati?
Well, call it an official school. It's more of like a place downtown. It's not like a university type school.
Right.
It's sort of like a building that you could go to if you weren't rich to go to university sort of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not your typical school of what you might think of, like a professor talking in front of like a lecture hall of thousands of people.
Okay.
Well, it's a little bit different from your regular type of school, but I think it was one of the funnest schools I've ever been to. The material, the students, just the environment is incredible. Yeah, I'd just like to give maybe a shout out to one of my new friends that I met at the school is also named Robert. If he's listening, I'll just give a shout out to him.
Exactly, and for this show, make sure that it goes. Let's make it go viral. Let's share it.
Yeah, well, there's a few other problems here that this plan will fix. Like, I don't know if you heard about what China does for their healthcare.
Please do enlighten us.
Yeah, see, China's got the problem where they had so many people, they couldn't afford to give everyone healthcare. So what they did, instead of doing what we do and just cure symptoms or treat symptoms, I should say, the Chinese government set up some healthy living to actually prevent disease from happening in the first place. So I think what this is off-grid living could do is, like, if people are eating their own foods that they grow, they're getting more exercise from gardening, they're not going to be as sick and diseased as they would be living in a city, just sitting at a desk all day, being in debt all the time and depressed. Right?
Sounds like me, being sick and depressed and being in debt.
Dream, I guess.
Oh yeah, and all they do is to give you pills that treat the symptoms, but you still have the sickness.
Yeah, so this solution here offers not only a plan for the refugees, but really for everyone. It's like, I was thinking, yeah, my next point here too is that we shouldn't be opening these new off-grid facilities just for the refugees. We got to make it available to students. They need it really bad. We got to make it available to the veterans. They need it really bad. Who else was needing this? Veterans, the homeless too. It's like, man, if we could offer a homeless person an off-grid cabin to live in the rest of his life, you think he would take it? I don't know. Yeah, and then another thing too is when we do this solution up north, it's going to offer us the chance to save our culture. It's like a lot of people are complaining too, is if we bring in too many people that don't speak English, eventually we're going to be surrounded in a city where no one speaks English. Right?
It'll be a different total society. It won't be Canadian anymore.
Yeah, but even with Quebec and Canada, they found a solution with that as well, right? Like, not everyone speaks English in this country, but we didn't try to blend everyone. We just actually separated it and lived in harmony, right?
Exactly. Well, I don't know if it's in harmony now, because here in Quebec, especially Montreal, there's a lot of French versus English wars
yeah,
going on.
there is still a little bit of that. But can you imagine if we all had to live in the same city, if it would be worse or better? I don't know.
And I think it would be worse if we all had everybody in the same place. It'd be catastrophic.
Yeah, at least this way there's a little bit of disagreement, but we still manage to get by, right?
Exactly.
And each culture's happy. Like, we still got people speaking French, we still got people speaking English, and no one had to stay as a refugee anywhere. It's like, there's lots of options here.
There is. Exactly.
And then what was I thinking too? Oh yeah, and then for single men, like, a lot of stuff that's been going on with the crisis right now is hitting single men the worst. It's like, it's really hard these days to get a job, make enough money to support a family, get a wife. All that stuff is being denied to a lot of single guys these days.
And why do you think that is?
Well, there's the agenda. People say that they're trying to break down the family unit, and that if people are gay, they can actually tax both people that are living in the household, rather than if there was a mother then working at home, they can only tax one person. So I don't know if it is really just a tax issue or a money issue, or it is some sort of satanic agenda. But I kind of think it's just the latter.
Somebody's saying that the initial cost of the equipment for living off grid must be high. All the solar panels, electronic batteries are toxic.
Yeah, see, there's another few issues that we still have with the off-grid technology. A lot of people put the solar panels right on top of their roofs, right under where they were sleeping or above, and there was some bad radiation coming from the panels. So what a new solution people are doing is they're putting the panels on their sheds so that you don't have it directly above your house. And the initial cost for setting it up a grid cabin used to be around $5,000. But the thing is, sure, it's expensive, but you compare it to the places that we're living at in the city, it's like a house in Toronto is costing $1 million now, right?
Yeah, you can't buy one.
Yeah, so the cost of, say, a $5,000, $10,000 off-grid cabin compared to $1 million house, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life. I think, and plus, too, the government's going to be throwing billions at these refugees. So it's like, if we're going to be using this money for refugees, let's use it for something good, right? Like, no, let's not build projects. Let's build off-grid communities, and not even force the refugees either. Like, give them the choice. Like, say, hey, do you want to get a a job here in the city and work in a desk and be in debt for the rest of your life, or do you want to go and have your own land? Like, you don't have to give each home off-grid place 100 acres. You could get by on just 1 acre.
Exactly, for sure. I mean, people are in debt, and and with the global economy looming, like there might be a collapse. People will be living off grid anyhow.
Yeah, and just to finish up quick, because I know we're running close on time here.
Yeah, we are.
When I was doing my exploring up north to find the Magi connections, I hired a private plane and flew over a huge chunk of northern Ontario.
Okay.
And I don't know if people realize, but Canada is almost 99.999% all unexplored forest. We only have cities and small little patches. Like Toronto is like almost practically in the States, and then the rest of the province is just empty forest. So it's not like we don't have enough room to set up these off-grid communities.
I know.
And the other thing too is a lot of the cities that are up there up north experienced a 50% drop in population in the past 10 years, and they're dying to get more citizens. So why are we shipping people to projects in Toronto when we have all this opportunity up north? Doesn't seem to make sense not to use this to our advantage. And plus, there's a large train system that used to take passengers from Toronto to up north, and that train was cheap and it was effective, and it got shut down because there wasn't enough people using it. So if all these people move to off-grid cabins, they don't have to be isolated. They could take a train back and forth to Toronto once a week, once a month. It's the utilities are already built there. We don't have to build a new train to do it. It's like it's almost been set up and ready to go for us. They're just waiting for us to take advantage of it.
Hopefully this plan of yours and everybody can actually come into motion. That would be wonderful, and hopefully we can get Justin Trudeau. Maybe Justin Trudeau could watch this show of ours, and this amazing topic, and it'll inspire him.
Well, you just wait and see. Like, once we get this thing written up, and I get some protesters to help me, and we'll get this on Justin Trudeau's desk. And I'll be surprised if he doesn't agree with it, because he's a liberal. This is a liberal plan.
Exactly, for sure.
And that's the biggest thing here, too, is we can use this plan to break the Illuminati. Like, they have a pretty powerful force. And when it comes to fighting a war, usually do you fight it head on, or do you usually break the supply chain? So, like, I think if we break the supply chain of the Illuminati, we're going to be a lot better off than if we try to face them head on. And how does this off-grid plan break the supply chain? It's like we get less people in debt, we get less stress, no sick people, no need for the GMOs, no need for oil and energy, which is probably going to be the main reason a lot of these refugees were created in the first place. So if we can actually start this off-grid program, we might break the cycle, break the supply chain. The Illuminati won't have as much control anymore because they'll have lost all their power.
Yeah, exactly. I love this plan, but time will tell.
It's a really ambitious plan, and
I know.
I'm confident we can pull it off.
Exactly. I agree with you, and let's hope that this plan can work,
Yeah, so when I get the draft made up from this, maybe I'll post it on your guys' site so that anyone who's interested in it can help out, maybe sign up to something, or maybe we'll get some sort of one of those, what are they called, the protest things where people sign up.
Yeah, petitions.
Oh, petitions, yeah. Maybe we can get some petitions going. And in the meantime, I'll be working on those papers and get them on Justin Trudeau's desk. And who knows, maybe with all this too, we can stop our need for nuclear. We won't need coal plants. And maybe we'll actually end all the profit in wars. Because if there's no profit in war, how many people are going to want it anymore?
I know, no one will.
Yeah, because right now people say they don't want war, but then a lot of people work in ammunition factories, right? So it's like, do we really want the war or don't we? It's so profitable, it's hard for a lot of people to turn it away.
Just like Big Pharma is profitable, and cancer, and all the rest of the illnesses.
This plan is amazing. It could stop the supply chain for the Illuminati, it could make us healthier, we don't have to eat GMOs, and heck, we could even start collecting our own water, so we don't have to drink fluoride all the time.
That'd be wonderful, my friend.
Yeah, it's kind of like what was I saying earlier? The Amish on steroids is what it is, this plan.
I like that. The Amish on steroids. We'll have all the advantages, no bills, and all this amazing technology where we get all our food and stuff and not have to deal with the downside of the Amish lifestyle of not having technology to aid you. Exactly. So we'll take what works from both and hybridize it into a good plan. Well, time will tell, my friend, but we've got to end the show.
Yeah, thanks a million for helping me get this plane out here. I know that we went a little bit over the time
Oh, it's
schedule.
okay. Well, we want to thank you for coming on our show, right, Mario?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this is just amazing, you know. And we've got to make this show go viral, folks. So share the show and let's see what Leland's plan can do.
Yeah, this plan could help the refugees and it could help everyone at the same time. It's like you don't have to pick one side or the other for this plan.
Definitely, definitely. Well, all right, Leland, we'd like to thank you for coming on our show.
All right, thanks a million, you guys.
And well, you'll come back very soon. And that's it. So we want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. I should say not Merry Christmas. Whatever people celebrate these days, it's all different. But that's it. So thanks and have a great night.
Thanks, you too. Talk to you guys later.
Definitely.
Bye.
Bye. Well, Mario.
Yes, lots of info.
Lots of info, a lot of information, and maybe just maybe a plan to defeat the New World Order and make things right again. At least it's worth a shot. Definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Mario?
No, that's it. There's nothing else for me. There's a lot of information.
There's a lot of information, yes. And we'll be back January 13th, folks. Have happy holidays, safe holidays, be well, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Well, 13. But who knows? Before or late, who knows? We'll try and be.
We'll be back
right?
on the 13th, yeah.
Around that time. We'll let you know. Just keep looking at our
blogs
and that. All right, so we're out of here. Thank you very much for watching. Right, you people are the best. Thank you
guys.
Thank you very much. You're the best. We'll be back. We will be back. All right.
2016.
Yes, 2016. Another great year. Lots of promises. All right. Good night. Bye.